I'd like to welcome everybody and call to order the regular meeting for the month of February for the Lincoln County Board of Education. Step one, we need to set the meeting agenda. Any questions or comments about the agenda? No, sir. Not, I'll accept the motion to accept the agenda. Motion, Ricky, second.
I'll second it.
Gloria seconds. Vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Etta?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. Oh, yes, also. Do we have anybody signed for public comment? Okay. Superintendent and staff reports, read those at your leisure. Have questions?
On 4D, I just noticed we had some schools in the 80s, a few days there. It had a few with 90s. Is percentage better?
I'm sorry.
I noticed that we had some schools that were like in about mid 80s, looking at that, and then we had a few like at 90%. So our percentage is better now.
You have to remember when we hit the times when COVID is pretty bad, we were staying above 90. I'm happy to report. But when we hit these areas, when the numbers are high, it takes a little bit for our contract tracers and our attendance clerks to get those COVID numbers in. So by the time everything's caught up in record keeping, I would expect us to be around 91, which is what I project that we'll probably be, but we are staying right at 90 or above.
Any other question or comment? All right. Number 5, presentation of map data. Tracy Griffin.
Yes, I've laid one in front of all of you. We're going to start with LCHS reading, and just like we did with iReady, we're going to talk about growth this time, see where they went from fall to winter. And in reading at Lincoln County High School, 9th grade, projected school growth was 1.3, and they had observed growth of 2. If you look at your little charts, the diamond is the projected growth, and the blue is the actual growth on your chart. So you can see 9th grade grew well above their projected growth. 10th grade, their projected growth was 1.1 and they observed 1, so they were right at their area. For 11th grade, projected growth was 0.9 and they observed 0 growth. They stayed basically the same. In math, you turn to the next page. 9th and 10th were above their projected growth, as you can see by the chart. And on 11th grade, they stayed basically the same. They grew 0.4 points. So it was basically the same as far as true measurable growth. On the next page, we have middle school. So in middle school math, their projected growth was 3.5 for 6th grade, 2.8 for 7th grade, and 2.4 for 6th. They had 1 point growth for 6th grade and 0 growth for 7th and 8th. And on reading, for 6th grade, projected growth was 3, 7th 2.3, and 8th 2.0. The observed growth was 1 for 6th grade, -2 for 7th, and -1 for 8th grade. So they actually went backwards in 2 of those. But for iReady, I showed you where the bottom kids and how much they grew. So I thought it would be better to do that, to see a picture of how those kids did, and that's what your next graphs are. The first page is the middle school. HGHA is high growth, high achievement. The next one is high growth, low achievement. And then the last one's low growth, low achievement. So all of these students that are on this graph were low achieving students in the fall. So I was showing how much growth they made from fall to winter. So if you combine your 2 high growth areas, the middle school in math had almost 50%. And in reading, about 44 had high growth. And then on the back of the high school, you had about 56, 57% had high growth in math, and 59.5% had high growth in reading. So the majority of the low achieving kids had already gone well above their expected growth for the year.
What are the projections based on?
The projections are based on national norms. So of the millions of kids that have taken math throughout the years, kids that scored in that range before, this is how much the typical growth is.
Are those norms adjusted any for the past couple of years?
2020, they're brand new norms in 2020.
Okay, that's what these.
Yes.
Questions or comments? Anything else? Thank you. 6, consent agenda. Questions, comments on consent? If not, I'll accept the motion to accept the consent agenda. Bruce makes the motion, Ricky seconds. Vote, Gloria?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. And I vote yes also. Seven, action items, tentative section 7 staffing allocation formulas. Leanne Smith.
Looking for approval of the tentative Section 7 staffing allocation formulas for 22-23. The changes that we discussed Tuesday night are on there now. We lowered a couple, in a couple places, 1,000 down to 900, and we duplicated the staffing levels for secretary and bookkeeper and attendance clerks, so those are the same now.
If you've had a chance to look at it, the schools feel like that's going to better help them.
I haven't personally discussed that with any of the schools yet, just haven't had time.
The principals that are here, that's going to help with all the attendance quick stuff.
We got one. All those in favor, raise your hand that it will help. All righty then. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the tentative Section 7 staffing allocation formulas for the 2022-2023 school year. Shannon makes the motion. I'll second. Vote, Gloria?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7B, tentative Section 4 and 5 staffing allocation formulas. Leanne?
And again, we'll need approval for the tentative formulas for 22-23, and there were no changes from Tuesday night till now.
Question, comment? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the tentative Section 4 and 5 staffing allocation formulas for the 2022-23 school year. Bruce makes the motion, Ricky seconds. Gloria?
Yes.
Etta?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7D, advertise for mowing bids. Leanne?
Oh,
I did, I'm
no,
sorry.
I thought,
School security funds
oh, it was
request.
me.
It's been a while since I've done stuff, give me credit. School
Noted.
security funds request.
Local board approval is needed of the school security funds request, and the total amount on that is $99,346.
Questions, comment? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the school security funds request for reimbursement for school security upgrades in the amount of $99,346. Bruce makes the motion, Etta seconds. Vote, Gloria?
Yes.
Etta?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7D, advertise for mowing bids.
Now we're on it.
Yeah,
Just looking for permission to advertise for mowing services for the 2022 mowing season. And if you all approve that, we'll have that in the paper next week, and then we'll be taking bids shortly after that.
questions or comment? If there are none, accept a motion to approve the advertising and taking closed bids for mowing for the 2022 mowing season. Motion approved. Second,
I'll second.
Gloria seconds. Vote, Gloria?
Yes.
Etta?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky? Yes, sir. Okay, I vote yes also. 7E, student accident insurance quotes. Leanne?
Roberts Insurance has provided quotes for student accident insurance for the board's approval. I am asking for acceptance of a quote from Hartford for the 22-23 school year at the same premium as last year, which was $80,750, and that will be paid from the general fund.
Questions, comments? If not, I'll accept the motion to accept the quote from Hartford for the 2022-23 school year.
I'll make a motion.
Gloria makes the motion, second.
Second.
Second, Etta. Vote, Gloria.
Yes.
Etta.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7F, advertise for school health services. Tracy Griffin.
Yes, we're asking for permission to advertise for a bid for school health services for the next school year and could be as much as for 3 years,
Okay.
depending on the contract.
Questions, comments?
I want to make a comment about the whole board thing. We go over this for YouTube later. We go over all this in the working meeting and we've already got our minds made up. We're just not rushing through this. I've had comments that we just rush through this.
Tell them they need to tune into the work.
Yes, working meetings where you learn.
Right,
But when you have a half hour of financial,
yes.
we lost a lot of people.
What? They didn't lose me. All right,
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a motion, second. Second, Ricky, vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7G, assurances for FRC YSC, Randy Hahn.
Yeah, just the annual, or every 2 years, we have to sign the assurances that we will do our part for the FRC to be funded. Like I said last week, they really worked hard to make sure that they're doing, that their CPP says what they're doing. So just have to sign that we agree.
Okay.
We'll hold up our end of the bargain.
Questions or comments?
I'll make the motion.
Let me read it first.
Okay.
Are you rushed?
I have been told.
If there's
I'm
no
right.
further questions or comments, I would ask for a motion to approve the Assurance Family Resource and Service Center's continuation program plans.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a motion, second. Bruce, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7H, jumps coach, Brad Petrie.
Is the track team is asked to add a jump coach to be paid for with booster funds, an amount of $800, and we just need to be added to the salary schedule for coaches.
Any questions or comment? Do we need to add to that the different boosters?
Yes, yeah, we have that language we've used before.
Yeah, okay, let me adjust this slightly. Say position will cease if no longer funded.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me read this out again then, please. There's no question or comments. I will accept a motion to approve the position of a Lincoln County High School jumps coach with an annual stipend of $800 to be paid with booster funds and added to the salary schedule. Position will cease to exist if Booster Club no longer pays for the position.
I'll make the motion.
Lori makes a motion.
Second.
Ricky beat you. Ricky second. All right, vote. Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce. Yes. Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7I, 21st Century full-time substitute coordinator position, Ms. Hart.
Yes, so there were some questions about if this had been done in the past. There is a substitute position on the salary schedule, but what I'm asking you for is a full-time person. So a full-time coordinator that will sub in wherever is needed throughout the district just for the remainder of this school year. So that's the difference of what's on there.
So what's currently on the salary schedule is just a half-time position?
It's just a fill-in
Just a
sub
fill-in.
position, correct?
Any question or comment? All right, if there are none, I'll ask for a motion to create a full-time substitute 21st Century coordinator position for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year. Etta makes the motion, Ricky seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7J, 2023-2024 school calendar, Ms. Hart.
Everything is the same as you saw last time, but I did take into account what Mr. Smith had inquired about making Christmas a holiday. I asked several classified employees if they had any strong opinions either way. They did not, but there might be somebody out there. It doesn't change anything about the schedule or the calendar when we're off. So I feel like if it's been an issue in the past, I don't want it to be an issue again for us. So I thought just switch of Brave Day and the holiday and make Christmas a holiday. So that's the only difference you see before you.
Okay.
And I misspoke, just FYI, I said earlier we were above 90%, and then I caught myself. And so while I'm speaking, I'm just gonna correct, we've been running above 95%. Big difference. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Thank you for making that correction. Any questions or comments about the 23-24 school calendar? If there are none, I will accept a motion for the second reading and approval of the 2023-2024 school calendar.
I'll make the motion.
Gloria makes a motion, Ricky seconds. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7K, copier for Highland Elementary, Miss Montgomery.
Highland has the cash on hand to reimburse the board for the purchase of a copier that you have a quote from Naval Office Equipment for.
Question or comment? If there are no questions or comments, I ask for a motion to approve the copier purchase at Highland Elementary. Ricky makes a motion, second Bruce. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. Wellness nutrition report, Kathy.
Y'all, I explained the report to you the other night, so if you have any questions for me.
Questions or comments? If there are none, I would ask for a motion to approve the nutrition and wellness report and activities.
I'll make a motion.
Gloria makes a motion. I'll second it. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Ricky. Yes, sir. I vote yes also. 7M, Director of Strength and Conditioning, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, same as presented to you at the last time, except there is one exception. Was changing that if approved, the Director of Strength and Conditioning would report to the Chief Operations Officer, and the Chief Operations Officer would be the one who would do the evaluation.
Any questions or comments about that position or the evaluation part?
I'm just a little concerned about the salary for that position for 240 days. Because I know we're looking at salaries, maybe increase coming up. And I know there's a bill in the House about maybe having to hire more school resource officers if that goes through. So that's just my concern about that.
We're already ahead of the game on school resource officers. Right?
Yeah.
There's a bill. There's a bill. There's going to be in every single school. I know it's every school. I do that.
The bill has an amendment, whether the amendment will stay with the bill. Amendment says that if the school district has a dire need that they could not afford, or they have a different reason, they could appeal that to the chief safety officer we have now. I think that's what it's called, chief safety officer. Because there were concerns from a lot of districts who are struggling financially that they said they could not afford it.
In going and looking at the salary schedule, can someone clarify for me, like for football at the hospital, are there 3 assistant conditioning coaches already there in addition to the head in football?
Stipend.
Is that what that 3?
Is
Is that what that 3?
They just supervise the weight room. That's just a stipend to supervise the weight room. For football. Yeah.
And then there's like a head and assistant for like boys basketball, and then a head and assistant for girls basketball. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think one reason for the 240 has to do with the fact that it's a year-round position, because this person will be basically in charge of the weight room, irregardless of the sport, irregardless of the condition, and so they have to have the summertime to be able to be there. That would
Kids
be-
have to be there.
Yeah, that's the rationale behind that 240. I understand what you're saying. The question I asked the other day was about some of those stipends you were talking about. I made the comment, what happens to those? And Mr. Rowe stated that, over time, as people leave those positions, those stipends would come off salaries. We just didn't want to take it off right now. So, don't want to be talking entirely.
That's
forward to it.
it. Yes, that's exactly it.
So, I feel like this position is one that would be pretty valuable, provided, obviously got to get the right person in there. understand the expectations, and obviously all the coaches involved in our athletics, both at the middle school and high school, are gonna have to learn how to work with this person and kind of accept them as the king of the weight room. So,
Are there any surrounding districts that have this? I know that, I think that comment was made, that we know. There is one.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I know
The only thing that
I mean,
concerns,
I'm not saying the person, just the.
No, I don't know, right?
We'll look at it. I don't think I don't think I got the same terminology for it. I think the person.
Lexington Catholic. Yeah, Lexington Catholic and other schools do.
all the Lexington public high schools.
Covington Catholic just did it too.
Brad?
There's several that are starting to do this. Where it's a newer thing, the amount of days in the description of the job may vary some, but I've seen like Bull has done it for years to some capacity. I know Mercer County, I just read an article because I knew the fellow that got the job there, just doing something like that. And then I think someone just mentioned Covcath. I know just last couple of weeks ago did something. So
You're exactly the same.
there are several doing it, but it's kind of a newer thing coming along, and it's really hard to get a good comparison of what everyone's doing with it. I think it's beneficial because it's going to help all the programs, not just one or two. Even your, for lack of a better word, minor sports will get some expert advice on how to condition and do strength programs and nutrition and things like that. And then in terms of coaching, Coach Petrie and myself can both tell you, we can coach baseball or basketball all day long, but Ricky would know better than me about how to get somebody strong and stuff. So there's a lot more to it than just thinking like, oh, they got a coach already. That's kind of just the new age way of thinking. I think in training is, I think it would be very beneficial in terms of that.
the only thing that concerns me about this position is he's gonna talk to these kids about nutrition. But as a board member, I can already hear these parents saying, he's body shaming, he's weight shaming, and I just want the parents and the kids to know up front, he's gonna tell them, you can't do McDonald's, you can't eat pizza, you can't have Little Debbie's and Mountain Dew and grow muscle. My constituents will be calling Ricky as well as me.
That's no different than being in health class.
Exactly. But, you know, and I'm excited about this position for several reasons.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I will accept a motion to create a director of strength and conditioning position and add it to the salary schedule. Motion. Ricky
Second.
makes a motion,
Second.
second Gloria. Vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Etta,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Ricky.
Yes, sir.
I will guess also. Board member division boundaries, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, after our Tuesday's meeting, I reached out the next morning to Bluegrass Area Development District. They're the one currently our county government uses to help redo their boundaries, and this is their area of expertise. I asked for a guesstimate of what something like this would cost. They said around $5,000. If the board will approve that, the goal is to have Shane New from the Bluegrass Ad here at our next working meeting to start the process.
It looks like we could almost do it ourselves if it's based on population.
Where's the population
We
stuff?
can't get the population data because we don't have the tools to pull the data sets.
I've heard this 3 times today, that in checking that a lot of different counties, districts and things are waiting until 2023 to do this, just in case people have already filed, that there wouldn't be any issue with that. Because there may be some people that's already filed that the change was made. And I heard on the third source today was on the news where, you know, there's some issues with how the maps have been changed and possible litigation there.
Yeah.
And in talking with some other local officials, that probably there's not going to be any changes made till 2023, just because, you know, some people may have filed and you may change that precinct. So I think we need to possibly look at holding this off until after that and see myself.
I'll mention the fact that you and I had this conversation. The whole reason I went forward with this is because of the conversation between you and I.
Well,
And I understand and agree with what you're saying, but I'm just.
Right. I mean, I guess I did bring this up when I first got on the board because it's been an issue for now over 15 years and it's never been addressed. And I don't think, I mean, I think right now that, you know, it's a possible, you know, thing too, that there could be an issue if somebody has filed, and I don't know who's filed. But that's what I understand, like the magisterial districts are waiting till 2023 to look before they make any changes.
How do the rest of you feel?
I'd rather move forward.
I want to move forward also.
I would rather vote tonight and have Shane here at the next working board meeting.
Well, and the other thing, whatever they do for us, is not set in stone either.
Right.
You know, I mean, if we look at it, there's little to no difference, then our things answered for us anyway. We could have this done and not move on.
But I hate to spend the taxpayers' money, you know, if we're going to $1,000, if it's something that we're not going to.
When I went to pick up my paper, Sonny asked me to do this. And my response to him was like, I know how to do that. Well, Shane knows how to do that. And if we spend the one way or the other, we're gonna have to spend the $5,000 because I'm not gonna make that decision without somebody that knows what they're doing, telling me this is what we need to do.
Well, as far as that goes, we could even make the changes. I mean, we could go ahead and have the initial work done, and if we want to make a change, wait till after the election too.
Yes.
Because the population information wouldn't change till the next census.
10 years.
Right. So,
It'll be the same population data for 10 years. No, that's just my opinion.
Mr. Baker, you have anything to add?
I think moving forward with it's a wise decision. Of course, we don't have to take action on it until after the election.
Right.
That would also give, if anybody's filed, to know here's what the new lines may be.
Right.
Because even if you're elected and you're outside the new district, you still serve your term out.
Mhm.
So that wouldn't be, so they wouldn't, you know, be a board member, but at least it would give them the notice that if I run, here's what the new lines could very well be,
Mhm.
and not be done once they're on board.
Well, we make a motion and vote.
Make a motion. You want to read it?
Yeah, I gotta read. We'll accept a motion to approve contracting with Bluegrass Area Development District to facilitate the process of redrawing board member division boundaries.
Motion.
Ricky makes a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Gloria seconds. Vote. Gloria?
Yes.
Etta?
Yes.
Bruce?
No.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also. Motion to adjourn. I'll make the motion. You can second. Vote Gloria?
Yes.
Etta? Bruce?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes, sir.
I vote yes also.